I'm reading this book called Outwitting the Devil by Napoleon Hill. And he
Oh.
talks about several institutions that are actually the cause of what he calls the devil, right? And it's a controversial book. And apparently he wrote the book in the 1930s, but the book wasn't actually published until about 2010 to 2012, that era. And the reason is, if he had published it back then, he would have received a lot of scrutiny, because he mentioned that one of the greatest reasons that children aren't reaching their potential, or they're becoming more physical and moving away from that third eye, is because parents and school systems are the reason that their children move away and drift away from that natural state that they are so great at inhabiting, like what you just mentioned. Is there something in particular that you believe causes the little people to lose connection with that third eye? And kind of a two-part question here, but what causes us to lose the connection with that? And how can we begin to build up that intuition that you're tapping into?
Which one's going first? You go.
Well, I mean, because I'm also a yoga teacher. So the way I view it is...
Which is a path. Now, people forget that yoga is a religion. I just want to point that out. And especially in Western society, which does not acknowledge any religion that does not look like the one I said existed. And yes, I did say that. So we're going to give her credit for knowing all of yoga. Thank you.
So as I'm studying yoga, because I became a teacher years ago, but I'm still a student too, right? Like what I'm seeing is at every moment we have access. So to enlightenment, or to whatever the word is that you want to call the all-knowing, or the third eye, or the intuition, we slip in and out of it. And that's what it is to be human. Right. So, but I think your question is what strips away and what systems are in place that actually kind of tell people not to listen to their intuition. You just described probably every system we have, including traditional medicine or allopathic medicine, where you go see an expert wearing a white coat and they tell you what's best for your body, even though they don't live in your body and they don't necessarily understand all your symptoms sometimes, but they're trying to fit you into a box for insurance purposes, which is a whole different conversation. But they're trying to fit you inside a box and then give you a treatment that worked for somebody else, but it may not work for you. And a lot of times that system is telling the patient that they are not the expert on their body or on their spirit, you know?
I actually think that occurs across systems. It occurs as well in functional medicine, as there's a rigidity in all of us as human beings. What functional medicine, I think, gives us is that individualization that you are so describing so beautifully, Kate, and the ability to flow across allopathic, integrative, functional, or energetic paths of healing, and not presuming that only one is, but trying to figure out what is the particular allocation of needs that will assist that individual. That's what I heard when you said that. And you can tell me if I'm being incorrect.
Yeah, that individual at this time.
Exactly.
Right?
And not presuming that individual will be the same person in a month.
Right. What helped me heal when I met Dr. D 4 years ago is different than what helps me heal today.
Interesting, because you are different now than then.
Completely different,
because
right?
She healed at different levels.
And not just because my cells are new and they're constantly changing, but because of my spiritual growth. And this is something that is true, like we're talking about religions, but it's also true for atheists, because they still have a spiritual or a metaphysical body. In Chinese medicine, it's energy flow, right? And Dr. D can
it's called
speak
qi.
to the qi. Yeah.
And people talk about, are you moving the qi?